Some say truth is stranger than fiction. But what if fiction is just a mask for something far more sinister? Like, what if everything we thought we knew was a lie, you know? From secret societies pulling the strings behind global events, to those creepy symbols just hiding in plain sight. These 5 conspiracy theories we're about to dive into, they just won't quit. They defy logic, they start fights online, and they refuse to die. You're watching Mumbl.co. And today, we're like those detectives in the movies, but instead of a dusty old case file, we're cracking open the top 5 conspiracy theories that still spark debate. Get ready to go down the rabbit hole with me. Okay guys, picture this, July 20th, 1969. The world is holding its breath, waiting for something incredible to happen. The world stops. Everyone's glued to their TVs, watching those grainy black and white images of Neil Armstrong taking one small step onto the moon. It's a moment that feels almost unreal, like something out of a science fiction movie. It was a giant leap for mankind, right? A moment of unity and hope, when people everywhere felt connected by a single breathtaking achievement. But what if it was all a lie? I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out, because not everyone was convinced, even back then. Conspiracy theorists, they've been picking apart the moon landing footage for decades, searching for anything that doesn't add up. They point to things like the American flag waving in the wind. But there's no wind on the moon. The flag seems to ripple, almost as if it's caught in a breeze that shouldn't exist. And the lack of a blast crater under the lunar module. Shouldn't there be a huge mark where the engine landed? It looks almost too clean. Plus, the shadows in the photos, they look all weird, like they were staged under studio lights. Some shadows go in different directions, which just adds to the suspicion. And the stars? Where are the stars in the pictures? It's like they forgot to add them in Photoshop or something. I mean, come on, you'd think with all that technology, they could have at least thrown in some twinkling stars, right? The sky looks pitch black, almost empty. NASA, of course, they say it's all nonsense. They've debunked these claims a million times, offering scientific explanations for every so-called mystery. The flag, they say, was mounted on a telescoping pole to make it fly. That's why it looks like it's waving, even though there's no wind. The lack of a crater? The lunar module's engine had a much lower thrust than people think, so it didn't blast out a huge hole in the surface. And those shadows? That's just how light works on the moon, guys. With no atmosphere to scatter sunlight, shadows can look strange and sharp. It's all science. But still, that hasn't stopped people from believing. The debate rages on, especially online, where theories spread faster than ever. Some even think Stanley Kubrick, the director of 2001, A Space Odyssey, helped fake the whole thing. I mean, the movie did come out a year before the moon landing. Coincidence? Or was Hollywood involved in the greatest cover-up of all time? So was the moon landing mankind's greatest achievement or the biggest hoax ever? The evidence is out there and the debate is far from over. You decide. September 11th, 2001. A date that would change the world forever. A day forever etched in our memories, marked by shock, sorrow, and a sense of vulnerability that swept across the globe. The images of the Twin Towers collapsing, the Pentagon in flames, the horror and disbelief. It's something none of us will ever forget. The world watched in real time as chaos unfolded, and the sense of safety we once felt seemed to vanish in an instant. But in the aftermath of that tragedy, a different kind of storm was brewing. A storm of conspiracy theories, suspicion and doubt that would ripple through society for years to come. The official story, the one we've all been told, is that 19 terrorists hijacked 4 planes, crashing 2 into the World Trade Center, 1 into the Pentagon, and the 4th into a field in Pennsylvania. This narrative was quickly accepted by most, but not by everyone. But for some, that explanation just isn't enough. The sheer scale and precision of the attacks left many wondering if there was more beneath the surface. They see too many unanswered questions, too many inconsistencies. The official reports for them leave gaps that only fuel their suspicions. One of the biggest points of contention is the collapse of World Trade Center 7, a 47-story building that wasn't hit by a plane but crumbled to the ground in a manner eerily similar to a controlled demolition. The speed and symmetry of the collapse have been debated endlessly. Conspiracy theorists point to this as evidence that the towers were rigged with explosives, that the government knew about the attacks beforehand, or even orchestrated them themselves. These ideas, once whispered in the shadows, soon found their way into mainstream conversations. They cite things like the speed of the collapse, the way the building seemed to fall straight down, and the apparent lack of resistance as the floors pancaked one after another. The molten steel found in the wreckage, which some claim shouldn't have been possible from jet fuel fires alone, only adds to the mystery. And the fact that Building 7 housed offices for the CIA, the Secret Service and other government agencies has only deepened suspicions for those seeking alternative explanations. It's all very suspicious, right? The more people dig, the more questions seem to arise. The official explanation for the collapse of Building 7 is that it was caused by debris from the North Tower, which ignited a fire that raged uncontrolled for hours, eventually weakening the structure and causing it to fall. Experts have tried to address the doubts, but skepticism remains. But many people remain unconvinced. Polls show that a significant portion of the public still questions the official narrative even decades later. The 9/11 attacks were a horrific tragedy, but they also opened a Pandora's box of questions that continue to haunt us to this day. The search for truth for some has become a lifelong pursuit. Was it a simple act of terrorism, or was there something more sinister at play? The debate rages on, fueled by new theories and discoveries. In the end, the truth may be more complicated than any single story. Do your own research, look at the evidence, and decide for yourself. Okay guys, let's talk about the Illuminati. You know, that super secret society that supposedly controls everything, like everything. Governments, banks, the media, even Beyonce, they're like the puppet masters and we're all just puppets dancing on their strings, or at least, that's what they want you to think. The Illuminati is like the ultimate conspiracy theory. They're everywhere and nowhere, pulling the strings from the shadows. Want proof? Just look at all the symbols, man. The all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, the pyramids, the number 666. They're flashing these symbols in our faces all the time, hiding them in plain sight. It's like a giant game of Where's Waldo, but instead of Waldo, you're looking for clues to the Illuminati's secret plan for world domination. And don't even get me started on the celebrities. They're all in on it too. They're flashing Illuminati hand gestures in their music videos, wearing satanic symbols on their clothes. I mean, have you seen Lady Gaga's outfits? It's like she's trying to summon demons or something. But seriously though, the Illuminati have been the subject of countless books, documentaries, and YouTube videos. Some people believe they're a group of powerful elites who are working to establish a new world order, a one-world government that will control every aspect of our lives. Others think they're just a bunch of rich dudes who like to party and wear funny hats. The truth is, nobody really knows for sure if the Illuminati even exists. But one thing's for sure, they're a fascinating and enduring mystery. Okay, this next one is a little out there, even for me. Have you ever looked up at the sky and seen those long white trails left behind by airplanes? You know, the ones that kind of linger in the air and spread out, forming these weird, cloudy patterns. Well, those aren't just ordinary contrails, my friends. Oh no, those are chemtrails, and they're spraying us with something. What that something is, well, that's where things get really interesting. Some people believe these chemtrails are loaded with chemicals designed to control our minds, make us sick, or even control the weather. I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But there are people out there who are convinced it's happening. They point to things like the increasing number of these trails in the sky, the strange metallic taste some people report experiencing after seeing them, and the government's refusal to acknowledge their existence as proof that something fishy is going on. The official explanation, of course, is that these trails are just condensation trails, formed when hot, humid air from airplane engines mixes with the cold, dry air at high altitudes. But try telling that to someone who's convinced they're being sprayed with mind control juice. So, are chemtrails a real threat, or are they just a figment of our collective paranoia? Are we being poisoned from above, or are we just looking for someone to blame for our problems? I don't have the answers, but it's definitely something to think about. Alright guys, buckle up because this one's a doozy. We're about to dive into a topic that sounds like it belongs in a comedy sketch, but trust me, it's very real. We're talking about the flat Earth theory, a belief that, against all odds and evidence, has managed to stick around for centuries. Yes, you heard that right. In a world where we have satellites, smartphones, and instant access to information, some people still think the Earth is flat. There are people in the year 2023 who genuinely believe that the Earth is flat. Not ironically, not as a joke, they're completely serious. I know, it sounds insane. But for some, this idea is more convincing than centuries of science. We've all seen the pictures from space, right? Those breathtaking images of our planet floating in the vastness of the cosmos. We've seen the Earth spinning like a beautiful blue marble, a sight that's inspired generations of scientists and dreamers alike. But flat earthers, they have an explanation for everything. No matter what evidence you show them, they have a counter-argument ready. They believe that the Earth is actually a disk, surrounded by a giant ice wall, Antarctica, duh, that prevents us from falling off the edge. This ice wall is supposedly guarded and off-limits to regular people. And all those pictures and videos from space? According to them, it's all a massive hoax. Fake news, my friends, all part of the conspiracy to hide the truth. The media, the government, even your favorite science YouTubers, they're all in on it. They say NASA is lying to us, that scientists are in on it, and that we're all being duped into believing a giant lie. It's a worldwide cover-up, apparently. They even have their own maps and models of the flat Earth, complete with a dome-like sky and a sun and moon that circle above us like celestial spotlights. Some even claim there are hidden lands beyond the ice wall. I mean, I've got to give them points for creativity, right? The imagination involved is honestly impressive. But seriously, the evidence that the Earth is a sphere is overwhelming. From physics to photos, it's everywhere you look. We've known this for centuries. Ancient astronomers figured it out long before rockets or satellites existed. But despite all the evidence to the contrary, the flat Earth theory persists. It's debated in books, online forums, and even at conferences. It makes you wonder, what is it about this theory that appeals to people? Why does it keep coming back, generation after generation? Is it the distrust of authority, the feeling that powerful people are hiding something from us, the desire for a simpler explanation of the world? Maybe it just feels easier to believe what you can see and touch. Or maybe some people just really like pancakes? I mean, who can blame them? Pancakes are awesome. Whatever the reason, the flat Earth theory is a reminder that sometimes the truth can be stranger than fiction. And in a world full of wild ideas, this one definitely takes the cake. Conspiracy or cover-up? Hoax or hidden truth? One thing's for sure, these theories still spark debate even decades later. We've explored the moon landing, 9/11, the Illuminati, chemtrails, and even the flat Earth. We've questioned the official narratives, examined the evidence, and dived deep into the world of conspiracy theories. But ultimately, it's up to each of us to decide what we believe. Do we trust the government, the media, the experts? Or do we follow our gut, question everything, and embrace the possibility that things might not be what they seem? What do you believe? Drop a comment below, and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mumbl.co for more revealing content. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.